Hey everyone. So we've all been there, right? You start something new, a new class, a new language, whatever, with this huge burst of energy. But then a few weeks in, that fire just kind of fizzles out. Well, today we're going to dig into a really powerful idea called momentum. It's this quiet, underrated force that honestly makes all the difference between people who start strong and people who actually finish strong. You know this person. Week one, they're on fire. They're the star of the class, asking all the questions. So you look around in week six and poof, they're gone. But what about that other person, the quiet one in the corner who just keeps showing up every single day, making these small, almost invisible bits of progress? By the end of the course, they're the one who has built something real, something impressive. That is the power of momentum. So what exactly is momentum? It's really easy to get it mixed up with just speed. You think that to make progress, we've got to go fast, these heroic all or nothing efforts. But momentum is a totally different game. It's not about how fast you start. It's about creating a force that simply refuses to stop. Did you catch that key word? Steady. That's everything. See, momentum isn't a feeling you have to conjure up. It's not about feeling motivated or heroic. It's a structural force that you build right into your process. It's the engine that just keeps chugging along, especially on the days you feel anything but inspired. It's all about consistency over intensity. This little chart here just nails the difference. Velocity is that weekend sprint, right? The all-nighter you pull to cram for a test, which is always followed by a complete and total crash. Momentum, on the other hand, is way quieter. It's just taking a walk 3 times a week, every week, even when it's drizzling outside. One is all about these dramatic, intense spikes. The other is about building an unbreakable streak. Okay, so here's the best part. This isn't about having some kind of superhuman willpower. Nope. Momentum is something you can actually design. You can create little systems and structures that make showing up consistently the easiest option. So let's get practical. Let's look at how you can build this stuff, both inside a single lesson and across a whole semester. So on the micro level, think of every single learning session like a workout. First, you need to warm up. This is just a simple, predictable, low-stakes ritual to get your brain in the game. Then you hit the peak. This is the main event, the hard work. But the trick here is to have fast feedback loops to keep you engaged and on track. And then, and this is so crucial, you got to have a cool down, a moment to reflect, let the learning sink in, and basically build a little bridge to your next session. Now, let's zoom out. How do we keep this going for weeks, for a whole semester? Well, there are a few amazing tools for that. First, micro habits. These are actions so small, so tiny, that you literally have no excuse to skip them. Then there's visible tracking. This is like a momentum mirror, a checklist, a chart on the wall that proves to you that you're moving forward. And my personal favorite, minimum viable practice. This is your secret weapon. It's the absolute tiniest thing you can do on a bad day just to keep the chain from breaking. And this quote right here, this is the entire mindset. The goal isn't to be perfect every day. Who can be? The goal is just to not break the chain. Giving yourself permission to do the bare minimum on a tough day. That is the perfect antidote to that toxic all or nothing thinking that just completely derails so many people. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The biggest tool and maybe the biggest trap in learning today, AI. If you use it poorly, it will kill your momentum faster than anything because it just lets you skip the work. But if you use it wisely, it can be an incredible partner. And the key is this fantastic metaphor. AI should be your treadmill, not your chauffeur. Think about it. A chauffeur does all the driving for you. You're just a passenger along for the ride. That's what happens when you tell an AI, hey, write this for me. You're outsourcing the work. But a treadmill, well, it provides the structure. It sets the pace. But you are still the one doing the running. Using AI for prompts, for feedback, to find weak spots. That's how you stay in the driver's seat and actually build the skill. So really, it all boils down to this one simple but absolutely critical question you have to ask yourself every single time you use a tool like AI. Is the human, are you still performing the core actions that actually build the skill? If you're still doing the thinking, the choosing, the revising, the tool is helping. If not, it's hurting. Simple as that. So where does all of this actually lead? I mean, this is about more than just having better study habits. When you successfully build momentum, you actually start to change your identity as a learner. You stop being a survivor, just trying to drag yourself to the next test, and you become a maker, someone who is actively, consistently creating something. And this is where the magic really happens. When you apply these momentum principles to a longer project, something that unfolds over several weeks, practice stops being this abstract chore. It becomes a real, tangible body of work, a podcast series, a portfolio of designs, a collection of essays. You can literally look back and see the physical result of all of that sustained motion. A project like this doesn't have to feel overwhelming at all. Look how it's broken down into these small, manageable pieces. Each week has one clear goal. You're not trying to create a perfect masterpiece on day one. You're just taking the next logical step, and then the next. And that is how steady, quiet momentum eventually builds into something truly impressive. And that really brings us to what might be the most critical idea of all. That pressure we put on ourselves, the pressure to create a masterpiece, is a total momentum killer. But the moment you shift your focus to simply sustaining motion, to just keeping that chain unbroken, you give yourself the freedom to learn, to mess up, to experiment, and to actually get things done. The masterpiece is a byproduct of the motion. It's not the goal of it. So I'm going to leave you with this question to chew on. What story do you want to tell about how you learn? Are you a survivor, just lurching from one deadline to the next? Or are you a maker, patiently building something that matters to you piece by piece, with momentum as your guide? Really, the choice and the power to do it is all yours.